Do you ever wonder why your students do what they do? Before we can effectively respond to behavior in classrooms, we need to understand how behavior works. Too often, behavior is treated as random, personal, or simply a matter of students choosing to behave or misbehave. But behavior is much more predictable than it first appears. Welcome to radforlife.com, home of the Establish, Encourage, Respond framework for classroom management. In this video, we're going to look at a simple way of understanding behavior by exploring three connected parts: what happens before a behavior, the behavior itself, and what happens after. When teachers begin to understand these patterns, behavior becomes less confusing, less personal, and far more manageable. The first part is antecedents or triggers. Antecedents are everything that happens before a behavior occurs. Triggers increase the likelihood that a behavior will happen, even though they do not directly cause behavior on their own. In classrooms, triggers can include things like how instructions are delivered, task difficulty, transitions, noise levels, seating arrangements, peer groupings, time pressure, the list goes on. Some triggers are immediate and obvious. A student may be asked to complete difficult work. A preferred activity may end. A correction may happen publicly in front of peers. These situations can quickly trigger behavior. Other triggers build up slowly over time. They're often called slow triggers or setting events. A student who has struggled academically all morning may refuse work later in the day, even if the task itself is manageable. Another student may appear fine for most of the week, but become more reactive by Friday because of accumulated fatigue and stress. Slow triggers can include things like repeated academic frustration, peer conflict, lack of sleep, hunger, stress outside of school. Understanding triggers help us recognize that behavior often starts long before it becomes visible. The second part is the behavior itself. Behavior is what we can observe. It's what students say or do. This includes calling out, refusing work, leaving a seat, shutting down, arguing, joking with peers. Again, I think you know this list really well. Importantly, behavior is neutral information. It's not a reflection of character, respect, laziness, or motivation. It's a response to the environment. Different students may respond differently to the same trigger. One student may become loud and disruptive, another may become quiet and withdrawn. Both behaviors may serve a purpose for the student in that moment. The goal is not simply to judge behavior. The goal is to understand what function the behavior serves. Which leads us to the third part, consequences. Consequences are what happen after behavior occurs. Consequences influence whether a behavior becomes more or less likely to happen again in the future. If a behavior leads to something helpful, relieving, rewarding, or meaningful for the student, that behavior is more likely to continue. And in classrooms, consequences often happen very quickly and automatically. For example, if a student calls out and peers laugh, that attention may reinforce the behavior. If a student refuses work and is removed from the task, the behavior may be reinforced because the student escaped something difficult. If a student shuts down and expectations are lowered, the behavior may increase because it reduces discomfort. This is where reinforcement becomes important. Reinforcement increases behavior. Positive reinforcement happens when something is added after a behavior that the student finds meaningful. A student jokes during instruction and gains peer attention. A student interrupts and immediately receives adult attention. In each case, the behavior becomes more likely because something was gained. Negative reinforcement happens when a behavior removes or avoids something uncomfortable. A student refuses work and the task is taken away. A student is sent out of class and escapes academic demands. A student shuts down and is no longer expected to participate. In these cases, the behavior increases because it helped the student avoid discomfort. This is important because reinforcement is always operating, even when behavior is unexpected or undesirable. Students repeat behaviors that work for them in some way. If we don't understand this principle, it doesn't mean it stops existing. It simply means our attempts to change behavior become less effective. Now let's talk briefly about punishment. Punishment is one of the most common responses to behavior in schools. This can include reprimands, loss of privileges, detention, removal from class, or even exclusion. Punishment decreases behavior, at least temporarily, but punishment also comes with complications. Punishment often does not teach students what to do instead. It may increase avoidance, resentment, or disengagement, it can strain relationships and make school feel less safe or predictable for some students. Most importantly, punishment suppresses behavior, but it doesn't replace it with a better skill or response. The behavior often reappears later, especially when the person doing the punishing is gone or when slow triggers build up again. In some cases, punishment may even reinforce the behavior it's trying to reduce. For example, if a student is overwhelmed by academic demands, being sent out of class may actually feel relieving. The removal itself may reinforce future avoidance. This is why understanding behavior matters. Finally, we need to understand setting events. Looking back at those setting events, they're antecedents that are broader conditions that influence how strongly students respond to everyday triggers. These can include fatigue, hunger, stress, mental health, learning difficulties, difficult past school experiences, and much more. Setting events help explain why the exact same request can lead to very different responses on different days. A student who normally manages well may struggle after a poor night of sleep. A student dealing with stress outside of school may respond more intensely to correction. A student with repeated academic failure may react strongly to new challenges. When teachers establish predictable routines, clear expectations, and positive relationships, they intentionally create positive setting events that make expected behavior more likely over time. Strong relationships also help teachers recognize when students may need additional support before behavior escalates. And this leads to an important shift in thinking. Behavior is not simply about students choosing to be difficult, disrespectful, or unmotivated. Behavior is often the result of patterns involving triggers, setting events, reinforcement, consequences, and attempts to meet needs or reduce discomfort. When teachers understand these patterns, behavior becomes more predictable and less personal. And that understanding helps us move beyond simply reacting to behavior and towards changing the conditions that influence it. And this brings us back to the Establish, Encourage, Respond framework. The Establish, Encourage, Respond framework is a way of organizing evidence-based classroom management practices into a clear and usable system. It's not just a collection of strategies, it's a framework that helps teachers think about behavior in a more organized and effective way. But the framework only works when it's backed by an understanding of behavior itself. Behavior does not happen in isolation. It's shaped by setting events, triggers, the behavior itself, and then the consequences that follow. The framework is designed to address each of these parts. Establish focuses on creating positive setting events and antecedents through relationships, expectations, routines, structure, and predictability. Encourage focuses on increasing the behaviors we want to see through reinforcement, support, and positive classroom systems. Respond focuses on how we react to behavior in ways that are calm, consistent, instructional, and less likely to unintentionally reinforce the behavior we're trying to reduce. Together, the framework helps teachers move away from simply reacting to behavior and towards understanding and influencing the conditions that shape it. If you want to learn more about the Establish, Encourage, Respond framework, there are additional videos available on the Rad for Life website and YouTube channel. There are also planning sheets, teaching resources, and a full book that explore the framework in greater detail. Subscribe to the channel to learn more about evidence-based classroom management and social emotional learning strategies that actually work in real classrooms.